Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Jonathan back again with the weekly scuffle, and I'm here to talk about Devin Haney versus George Kambosos 2. It is being reported that it is planned for October 15 in the US prime time on ESPN, and that October 16 in Australia this fight will take place. The rematch, of course, George Kambosos had the rematch clause in his contract, very famous rematch clause, and it's pretty evident to me that this fight will most likely take place. Even though I believe it hasn't necessarily been signed yet, chances are that this fight will be next and it will be signed because there is nowhere else for Devin or George to go. I think Devin wants this 130 fight and he wants to be recognized as the king, and it's very obvious what ESPN is trying to do. The Devin Kambosos fight is projected for October, and that is also the same month that Loma is set to make his return. So it's clear that they're trying to have both those fights in around the same time frame, so that way people could build up for the mega fight that will be Lomachenko versus Devin Haney. Granted, I think Teo is a great fighter. I think he'll be a great fighter in 140. I think him and Ryan Garcia each should try to pick up belts at 140. Will they both do that? Probably not. But I think Teal definitely will. Ryan maybe not. But regardless, I think Devin and Haney will happen. Oh, not Devin and Haney. George and Haney will happen. And I think it's gonna be the same thing. If Devin can knock him out, great. I would love to see that improvement from Devin. You've already fought him once. Go into this time and actually go for the kill and knock him out. I think Devin, his boxing style, at least for me, is a beautiful thing to watch. You know, straight skills, perfect, if not the best jab in boxing right now. And honestly, I think he'll be a problem for a lot of fighters for years to come. And I think there's a reason why you see Teo moved up, you see Ryan moved up, you see Tank not necessarily fighting the same caliber opponents, and it's because Devin's chasing something that the rest of these guys, except barring Teo, because Teo did take the top fights, aren't taking, and that's legacy. He's chasing legacy. He's not going out there to be the best or to be the most highest grossing, highest paid. He's going in there, he's getting the job done. And granted, the Floyd comparisons will come, but I think Devin is definitely his own fighter. And I think we'll see that. I think him at 135, his power definitely diminishes. And I think as we see him go to 140, I think we might actually see a raise in Devin's power because Devin does cut a lot of weight. There's a reason why Tio and Ryan both decided to stay at 140 now, and that's because the weight cuts definitely affect them. Basically, all three of those guys are bigger guys. I could see them all fighting at welterweight at one point in their career. And unlike those three guys, Tank Davis is shorter. I think he's the shortest out of all of them, maybe 5'5", 5'4". And I think Tank is definitely the 135 pounder, but I think Devin will have this fight against George. I think it'll be the same old, possibly a TKO finish, but no promises on that. And I think the Loma Devin fight will happen, and once that fight happens, I think Devin will truly be the king at 135, and he'll have nothing left to prove. And after that, he'll probably move, unless a Tank Davis fight can be made, which I doubt it can, with Floyd and Al Heyman blocking almost every big fight that Tank could be in, and them clearly stating they're not going for any of the belts. I don't see why they would go for undisputed, and I see Devin moving up to 140 and fighting maybe eventually Teo and Ryan if they're both at 140, especially if they have belts, because Devin doesn't duck no smoke, and he's honestly one of my favorite fighters now, and I think this fight with George will be a good fight, especially to keep warm for that Loma fight that will happen either late this year, early next year. I think it'll be more likely that it happens early next year. But that being said, we'll see how all this plays out and see you next time. Peace.